Unleash the chilling truth of the past as the highly classified CIA documents are finally revealed. From the infamous family jewels to the sinister MKUltra, uncover the darkest secrets of the intelligence agency and brace yourself for the sinister discoveries that have been hidden for far too long. Hello, and welcome back to The Abandoned Archaeologist, the channel to learn all about ancient archaeological findings. Today we will step into the shadows of history as we unravel the mysterious and frightening secrets concealed within the CIA's infamous documents. But before we begin, to get your attention, we have a question you can answer at the end of the video. Which act established the CIA? Write down your answer in the comments section and see if you got it right. Here we begin. Operation Northwoods. Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation planned by the U.S. Department of Defense and Joint Chiefs of Staff in 1962 during the Cold War. The operation was intended to create public support for a war against Cuba by blaming the Cuban government for terrorist acts against American citizens. The plan called for various scenarios to be carried out, including the hijacking of American airliners, the bombing of U.S. military installations, and the staging of fake acts of terrorism against U.S. citizens. The operation was never carried out and was instead exposed and rejected by President John F. Kennedy. The plan's existence was not made public until 1997, when the public obtained the declassified documents related to Operation Northwoods through the Freedom of Information Act. The proposed Operation Northwoods was widely criticized for its unethical and illegal nature, as it involved the planned killing of American citizens and the staged fabrication of evidence to support a war. The operation also violated the principles of international law and the Geneva Conventions, which prohibit the staging of fake acts of violence against civilians. The plan's exposure further solidified President Kennedy's reputation as a defender of peace and civil liberties and led to increased scrutiny of the U.S. military's intelligence operations. Nevertheless, Operation Northwoods remains a cautionary tale about the dangers of government propaganda and the importance of transparency in government operations. MKUltra. Project MKUltra was a secret program undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, in the 1950s and 1960s, aimed at developing methods and drugs to force confessions through psychological torture and brainwashing during interrogations. The program utilized various techniques to manipulate its subjects' mental state and brain functions, including the administration of psychoactive drugs and chemicals without consent, electroshocks, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal abuse, and sexual abuse, among others. The program was preceded by two previous drug-related experiments, Project Bluebird and Project Artichoke. It was organized through the CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence in collaboration with the United States Army Biological Warfare Laboratories. MKUltra involved illegal activities and used US and Canadian citizens as subjects without their knowledge or consent. Over 7,000 American veterans were among the test subjects, and many later sued the government for their involvement. The program was conducted at over 80 institutions, including colleges and universities, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical companies, under the guise of research. Although some top officials at these institutions were aware of the CIA's involvement, the CIA often used front organizations to carry out the experiments. In 1975, MKUltra was first brought to public attention by the Church Committee of the United States Congress and the Rockefeller Commission. The CIA had ordered the destruction of the MKUltra files in 1973, which hindered investigations into the program. However, in 1977, a Freedom of Information Act request led to the discovery of 20,000 documents relating to MKUltra and subsequent Senate hearings. As a result, some information about the program was finally declassified in 2001. The Family Jewels. The Family Jewels refers to a collection of reports that document illegal, unethical, and sensitive actions taken by the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, from 1959 to 1973. The reports were obtained by then CIA Director William Colby, who referred to them as the skeletons in the CIA's closet. After more than 30 years of being kept secret, most of the documents were finally released on June 25, 2007. The non-profit organization, the National Security Archive, had made a request for the documents under the Freedom of Information Act 15 years prior to their release. The reports were commissioned in 1973 by CIA Director James R. Schlesinger in response to media coverage of the CIA's involvement in the Watergate scandal, specifically the support provided to the burglars E. Howard Hunt and James McCord, who were both veterans of the CIA. On May 7, 1973, Schlesinger instructed senior officers to compile a report on any CIA actions that may have gone against the agency's charter. The resulting 693-page report, made up of memos, was passed on to Colby when he succeeded Schlesinger as Director of Central Intelligence later in the same year. The Family Jewels reports remained largely secret for many years, despite various leaked details about their contents. The reports were initially leaked by investigative journalist Seymour Hersh in a New York Times article in December 1974. Hersh reported that the CIA had conducted illegal domestic intelligence operations against anti-war activists and other dissident groups in direct violation of its charter. Despite repeated requests by journalists and historians, access to the full Family Jewels documents were denied until June 2007, when CIA Director Michael Hayden announced that they would be made available to the public. A 6-page summary of the reports was released by the National Security Archive, which introduced the documents as evidence of the CIA's 25-year violation of its charter. The complete set of documents, with some redactions, was released on the CIA's website on June 25, 2007. However, congressional investigators had already had access to the Family Jewels in the 1970s, and the existence of the reports was widely known before their declassification. Enhanced interrogation techniques. Enhanced interrogation techniques, or simply enhanced interrogation, is a term used to describe the systematic use of torture on detainees by the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, and various branches of the U.S. Armed Forces at remote sites around the world, including Bagram, Guantanamo Bay, Abu Ghraib, and Bucharest, with the approval of officials from the George W. Bush administration. This program involved the use of various methods of torture, including beatings, binding in stress positions, hooding, deafening noise, sleep disruption, and deprivation leading to hallucinations, food, drink and medical care deprivation, waterboarding, walling, sexual humiliation, exposure to extreme temperatures, and confinement in small coffin-like boxes. In addition, detainees were subjected to medically unnecessary rectal procedures, including rectal rehydration, resuscitation, and feeding. In addition to physical brutality, detainees were threatened with harm to their families, including their children and mothers. The exact number of detainees subjected to these techniques and the number of deaths resulting from the program is unknown, but it could be as high as 100. The CIA has admitted to using waterboarding on 3 individuals implicated in the September 11 attacks. Still, the Senate Intelligence Committee found evidence of waterboarding being used at the Salt Pit Prison, despite the CIA's claims to the contrary. In addition, there have been allegations that deaths labeled as suicides at Guantanamo were actually homicides as a result of torture. No murder charges have been filed for these or for torture-related homicides at Abu Ghraib and Bagram. The use of enhanced interrogation techniques sparked debates about their compliance with U.S. anti-torture laws and international laws, such as the UN Convention Against Torture. Comment below, and the answer to our question is the National Security Act 1947. Subscribe for more such videos.